Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad at least some people could make it. I know the time is quite different. We're about an hour and a half earlier than normal this afternoon, not even this evening, this afternoon. Uh, Unforeseen circumstances has arisen for tonight. So we just rescheduled this to be not only earlier, so happening at 4 instead of 5:30, but also only an hour. So instead of a 90-minute meditation program tonight, we are doing 60 minutes. So the meditation will be a little bit shorter. The Q&A will be a little bit shorter, and so on. Right? We'll just compress everything. 33.33%. So welcome. Let's get going with our meditation. So tonight we're going to do, or this afternoon, we're going to do some Tonglen in the non-dual tradition, right? So this is fun and interesting and something we've done maybe once or twice before, but we're going to do it slightly different this time. So what I'd like you to do is set up your posture. Sit up straight and tall. Get that lower back curve just right so your head is poking directly upward. Your chin is tucked just a little tiny bit so that your back of your neck is open. And then I want you to just kind of lean back and forth, front to back. Just lean around just a little bit till you find exactly that right spot, the place where the spine balances with the least amount of difficulty, right? You can find that right there. There it is. Least possible effort. So your spine is upright, and then let everything else just relax. Your face relaxes, your shoulders relax, your belly relaxes, so that you're very upright, but also very relaxed. And then what I'd like you to do is to set your intention. Why are we meditating today? What is this for? We're never just sitting, plopping down and meditating. Set your intention to remember why you're doing this, what you're up to. And I'll give you a second to do that. Good. Now, if you have a being who you pray to, or if you're not into that, maybe you have a bodhisattva or a Buddha whom you find to be like an inspiring figure, or maybe even just people, regular old human beings who you find to be inspiring figures. If that's part of your practice, then bring those deities, bodhisattvas, individuals to mind right now and notice their positive characteristics, the fact that they're helping you, the fact that they're guiding you, the fact that they are on your side. And then take on those characteristics. Notice that you have wisdom like a bodhisattva. Notice that you have clarity and confidence like a bodhisattva. Notice that you have compassion like a bodhisattva, and whatever other properties you are taking on from this figure. And again, I'll give you a moment to do that now. Okay, good. Now, what we're going to do is, again, we're going to do some Tonglen this afternoon. And in a way, Tonglen is its own focus practice, right? We can think of it in a way as having quite a strong shamatha element, since we're visualizing and, keeping our mind really firmly fixed on the meditation object. But nonetheless, let's not start out right from the get-go with Tonglen. Let's instead begin with deep belly breathing. So as usual, I want you to feel your belly rising and falling, rising on the in-breath, falling on the out-breath. And I want you to fix awareness on the rising and falling of the belly so that you're staying with it continuously and also with a lot of clarity. So I'll be quiet while we do that. Just get nice and focused on the rising and falling of the sensations in the belly. And again, if your mind is wandering, bring it back gently but firmly back to the rising and falling of the breath. Stay nice and focused. And once you get that continuous contact with the body sensation of breathing, then go into the details so you get fuller and more complete contact. And remember that in this way of working, we're breathing very slowly and deeply. This is not normal, natural breath. Want to do slow, deep breath. Okay, good. Now, before we do Tonglen, we always do some emptiness practice, particularly emptiness of self. This is very important. So, what I want you to do is notice your sense of self, the sense of being you, and then just try to find where that comes from. Try to find its physical location in your body or its mental location in your mind. Just search around with your awareness and see if you can find a place where the sense of self comes from, where it's located. And if you um, feel like you found such a place, look more closely, look more clearly. You will notice that the sense of self, when you really look carefully, is unfindable. You can't actually pin it down. And this is very fascinating. That the thing that we think is so important about ourselves, oh, my precious sense of self, when we really look for it, you can't actually find it. Now, it's there as an experience. You're having the experience, but you can't pin down where it comes from. It has this unfindable property. So I want you to keep noticing that. Keep coming back, keep looking. Look through your body, everywhere in the body. Look through your mind, everywhere in the mind. Look anywhere else you can think to look to try to find it over and over and over again, noticing it is unfindable. So do that now. Okay, good. Isn't it interesting? The sense of self is unfindable. I always find that really fascinating. Now, we're going to begin the main practice here, the Tonglen. So, what I want you to do is visualize a burning sun in your heart region. So, where the heart would normally be, there's a sun, like a star, right? A big, bright yellow star that is tremendously hot. It's spherical, it's yellow, and it's burning, burning, burning with compassion and love and kindness. So visualize that very clearly, this burning sun in the heart region, maybe the size of a grapefruit, but a grapefruit that is actually a star. Millions of degrees in temperature and infinite in its compassion and love and kindness. And once that's clear, what I want you to do is to begin to breathe in the suffering and pain of the world around you. And when that suffering and pain hits the sun in your heart, it is vaporized, it is annihilated with no remainder. There's nothing left. It's absolutely disintegrated into nothing. That's on the in breath. On the out breath, you're breathing out kindness, you're breathing out caring, you're breathing out love, you're breathing out compassion, and that is flowing out to all these previously suffering beings and bringing them relief. So the in breath, you're visualizing all this pain and suffering coming in. It's vaporized, it's annihilated, it's completely disintegrated by the sun in your heart. And then on the out breath, kindness, caring, joy, compassion flows out, healing and soothing and bringing joy and carefreeness and confidence to all whom it touches. So let's continue with this visualization now. Remember, you can do this for individuals you know who are suffering. You can do it for groups of people. You can do it for various uh, cities and towns or nations. You can do it for the whole world. You can do it for the whole universe, whatever feels right to you. But really getting a sense of that pain, that suffering, the despair, the real difficulties of this earth, and breathing all that in without any reservation, without holding back in any way. Breathe that all in and let the sun in the heart just annihilate it all without any remainder. And then breathing out all the kindness, all the joy, all the peace, soothing and healing. And just each in breath and out breath, you do that cycle over and over again. Now that you're getting the hang of it, amp it up a little bit. Take in more and more of the pain and suffering with less and less reservation, and really breathe out those pure vibes of love and kindness and confidence and caring and compassion, uh, and soothing and comfort and belonging to the world. Really, really make it very strong. Okay, good. Now end the visualization on an out breath. When you get to an out breath where you're breathing the compassion to the whole world, kindness, caring, love to the whole world, and then let go of the visualization and come back to just the sun part. Sorry, we're still doing the sun part of the visualization, but it's just meditating on this burning sun of love and compassion in the heart. And just hold that for a moment, a minute, really feeling that blazing sun of love and kindness, caring and compassion in the core. Seeing its beautiful, radiant yellow light, feeling it streaming out in all directions. Filling the body with joy, kindness, confidence, dignity, filling the mind with these same properties. Good. Now, again, let's do the meditation on unfindability of self. So just notice the unfindability of the sense of self. We could call it the emptiness of the sense of self. Look everywhere in the body, look everywhere in the mind, look anywhere you can think to look, and notice you can't pin it down. You can't really actually find it. Why? Because it's a process. It's not a thing. It's not located anywhere. And yet we tend to think of it that way. So it's important to do this emptiness of self exercise to remind ourselves that we're not a thing. Keep looking, keep noticing. You can't find it. Okay, good. Now just sit and breathe for a little while. Just let the mind relax and open, and just sit and breathe quietly for a few moments here. just relaxed and open. Okay, good. Let's end the meditation there. Again, just a half hour today for the meditation, a little over a half hour. And, this practice is quite interesting. It's called Tonglen, which in the Tibetan language means giving and receiving. Obviously, we are receiving the suffering and pain and giving back the joy and compassion. It's critically important that you do the emptiness meditation, emptiness of self meditation before and after, so that you don't get the sense that somehow you're actually taking on this suffering yourself into your own personality or into your own body or something like that. Instead, we notice the emptiness first and after so that nothing remains. But also, while we're doing the meditation, the sun in the heart or the fire in the heart, you can really use any element. You could have ocean that was so pure, it was annihilating all the suffering. You could have a sense of like stone or earth or lava that was so powerful, it was removing all the suffering. You could do it with air, right? You could do it with fire like we did. All of the elements can be visualized to purify away the suffering and pain. But whatever element you use, you want it to be total. It burns up the suffering or dries it out or washes it clean or whatever, but it does it with absolutely no remainder. So we used a star, but a star is just a kind of fire, right? So to speak, nuclear fire, fusion fire, heat. And so it burns up with no remainder of any kind. Again, that's so that it's not like you're getting all these ashes in the visualization or something like that. You want it to just be gone. It's entirely gone. And you're doing the work, so to speak, to purify all that, and yet it's utterly purified. There's no remainder. And then on the out breath, you are giving back absolutely pure kindness, clarity, joy, compassion, healing, relief for that suffering. Now, this meditation is difficult for people in various ways. But the beautiful thing about it is that it's removing the sense of separation between self and other. Normally, we have a really strong sense that, I'm taking care of me and you take care of yours. And in fact, it's okay if we sometimes think it's okay if me taking care of me actually kind of hurts you, sort of thinking in a zero-sum game kind of way, like, well, there's only so much to go around. I'm going to get mine, right? And this is the cause of a lot of difficulties. It's also, from the absolute non-dual perspective, it is an illusion. It's a delusion. We aren't actually separate. There's no place to export the harm to. We're always exporting the harm, so to speak, directly into our own backyard. And so the idea is when we do Tonglen, which is, when you think about it, the opposite of that kind of selfishness. It's like, oh, I'm not keeping myself all safe and making everyone else, deal with their own stuff, and I don't have to worry about it. We're doing the opposite. I'm dealing with everyone else's stuff in a way, so at my own expense or in my own inconvenience. So it's flipping selfishness on its head, just psychologically. But furthermore, it allows us to break down the barrier between self and other. It's like, oh, not only are we flipping selfishness, but we're seeing there's really no boundary. There's really no difference. We are all one together. And so me, in quotes, us cleaning up the field, who else is going to do it? Who else is going to take care of the pain and suffering? Who else is going to take care of the fearful and the depressed and the downtrodden and the oppressed? It's us. We have to do it. We have to take care of it. And Tonglen helps us to get in that mode. And so it's actually a non-dual practice because it's removing the boundary between inside and outside, the difference between self and other, and really working to drive home the point that we're all one, right? That we actually are deeply connected. Even though we have our individuality, we are deeply connected as beings. So this is a great practice. And it can bring up a lot of stuff. Sometimes we feel like, somebody the other day was telling me when they did it, they feel like they don't have the right to somehow take on another person's suffering. But remember, it's just a visualization exercise. It's meant to help you to overcome selfishness and to contact non-duality, contact the sense of oneness with other beings. We're not in some way negating the fact that other people are suffering or denying it. Rather, we're getting ourselves in the mode of helping it. Now, this is just a visualization. Afterwards, you also want to go out and do real things. But it's this working on this mood that really, really helps. So let's look at some of the questions here. Danny is saying, is the self is empty? What is it that directs attention? Emptiness doesn't mean it's not there. Remember, I kept saying it's there as an experience. It's just not an object. So emptiness is fine. There's still the possibility of doing the practice through intention. Heather says, for me, this burning sun makes all the difference to the practice, also the emptiness of self. Yeah, if you try to do it without that elemental force of purification, I think it's a lot harder. I like visualizing the particularly a sun, the fire one. The other one that I tend to, you'll see I guide it here on YouTube sometimes. The other one I like to do is a earth one, which is a diamond, right? So you have this shining diamond, and it's so pure, it just purifies all the healing. Sometime we'll do an ocean one and maybe a wind one another time. But yeah, having the visualization is really important and powerful. And I particularly like the star or the sun with its fiery cleanliness. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat window. Caraglow always has a question. Hi, Caraglow. Thank you. The breathing out felt very pure. Is Tonglen connected to metta? Is this visualization technically used as a shamatha object in this practice? Well, what do you mean connected to metta? Clearly, it's not the same as metta practice, right? Metta practice is a different visualization. It uses uh, verbal affirmations or verbal wishes, right? It has its own whole structure. So this is a different practice, a practice called Tonglen. On the other hand, they're both Buddhist practices. And of course, you're generating some of the same feelings and so on. So it's connected in some ways and not connected in others. It's just a different practice. But I will say in early Buddhism, you tend to use metta. And if you're in Vajrayana Buddhism, then you tend to use Tonglen instead. This is considered like a non-dual practice. So that's what that's about. And then you say, is this visualization technically used as a shamatha object in this practice? Most people don't talk about it that way. Most teachers don't talk about it that way. But obviously, if the mind is staying with a visualization, that's a shamatha object. You know, you're staying, and staying is the English translation of the Tibetan translation of part of the word shamatha. So I would say it is, whether it's often talked about that way or not. Sam says, I have the opposite problem of needing, don't worry, it's just a visualization. I find myself thinking the visualization is sort of empty thought experiment. How do I get more invested? I would just say, is there anyone you actually care about? And how do you feel about their suffering? And if you could, would you take it from them? If you could, meaning not take it on yourself, but if you could, would you help them to feel better? So visualize someone that you actually care about, and that's how you get more invested. Konstantin Melnikov, is there further development of this practice? I like it very much. It works better than metta for me. I always recommend, I wish I had it here. Let me make sure it's not in my, I don't have it handy. It's this little tiny book. It's like actually like this big, published by Shambhala. And the book is called Tonglen by Pema Chodron. So Tonglen by Pema Chodron. Great book. And she does it a little different than we just did it here. That's okay. There's different, like I use this particular type of visualization. She does something different, but it's the same practice and it will help you develop it. Michael says, as we did the Tonglen portion, I found myself taking deeper breaths in order to purify more of the suffering of other beings. Gave me the sense that my own compassion is much larger than I believe. That's right. And notice we started out the meditation, as we almost always do, but there was a method to the madness there. We started out with slow, deep breathing for that very purpose, right? These big, slow breaths give you more time to work with the visualization. So that's the deal. Other questions or comments from you all today? This is your chance. Here I am, live online. If you got anything you want to ask, go ahead and do it. Again, tonight's program is short. This afternoon's program is short. Thanks for bearing with me. It's just the way it has to be today. So that's that. Looks like there's no other questions forthcoming. So what we're going to do now, thanks, Michael. Thanks for showing up. I really appreciate people coming and taking part. Makes it fun for me too. So there's been some times where I just didn't have the chat window handy and so on, or I have to record the video in advance, and so it's just me talking to a camera, and I can do it. I can imagine it enough to do it, but it's very, very fun to have, live humans. Thanks, everybody. I really, really appreciate it. No, I'm not leaving on vacation. I just have something came up that I have to do this evening. So that's all. That's why we're doing it early. All right, so let's switch gears now and just say, remember that these guided meditation programs are brought to you by me and San Francisco Dharma Collective, and that it is my wish and also the wish of San Francisco Dharma Collective that we give these out for free. As I'm often mentioning these days, there's something like 150 free hours of me teaching meditation here on YouTube. 150 hours. Feel free to watch all of those. The early ones have some bad sound, like the first 5 maybe, and then 5 to 8, and then they get good after that. So we fixed the sound. And so it's really, really, really important to me and important to SFDC that this teaching go out free to the world. On the other hand, both I and San Francisco Dharma Collective could use your support. So if you happen to have an overwhelming abundance of financial resources in your life, and you like what we're doing here, then please feel free to give to San Francisco Dharma Collective at the links that Pranab, hi Pranab, Pranab is putting links in the window there. You can give at those links, and we would really deeply appreciate that. Okay, so feel free to do that. Coming up at San Francisco Dharma Collective, we have Psychedelic Sangha this Saturday. Psychedelic Sangha is led by my very good friend and incredibly brilliant human being and fun guy, Eric Davis. Eric Davis is inimitable and imaginary. He's an imaginary being. He's illusory, and he's super, super fun to do Psychedelic Sangha with. So Psychedelic Sangha, you can never tell what it's going to be. It's either a talk or an exercise or some kind of really, really interesting interactive thing. And so show up and take part in Psychedelic Sangha. There's other San Francisco Dharma Collective events, and again, Pranab there in the chat window has given you the link to see where those are at, when those are at, what those are, and how you can find them. For my own stuff, remember that we've got online courses available. And every once in a while, right now there's no new ones, but there will be more coming up. So if you want, you can subscribe to this channel or listen to the Deconstructing Yourself podcast or get on my email list on the Deconstructing Yourself website. One way or another, you will get notified when there's new courses and you can sign up. So I think that's it for tonight / this afternoon. It's kind of right in the middle right now, just on the edge. And Pranab is reminding me about our Discord channel. The Discord channel is huge at this point. Let me see. As of this very second, we have 638 members on the Discord channel. And you could be number 639 and jump in and talk to other folks about meditation, about these guided meditations, about meditation in general. You can get practice partners, like people to talk about your practice with. There's a channel on the Discord called Practice Pals that turns out to be very popular. If you feel like you're all alone sitting in rural Saskatchewan and you don't have anyone to talk to meditation about, hop on the Discord and get a practice pal. That is amazing. And there's other stuff on there also. So I'm going to sign off for now. But first, we're going to do our ending sit. So stop the chatting at this point. Stop all that chatting. Cut it out. No more chatting. And instead, we're going to meditate for about 3 minutes or so. So just silently uh, do whatever meditation you like. Let's go. All right, everybody. Going to end the meditation now, and we'll end the program now. Thanks again. See you soon. We'll be back at the normal time next week. See you then. Bye-bye.